So far, this Western Conference Finals has felt like deja vu. And when I say deja vu, I'm not talking about a sensual dance from a beautiful woman named Candy at the Gentlemen's Club down the street. I mean, it's starting to feel a little bit like last year in the sense that the team came into the series flying high and promptly got their wings clipped. And while the Wolves cannot change the course of history, they can absolutely change the course of this series with a win tonight. A Game 3 W will feel like a shot of hope straight to the veins, while a loss will feel like a lethal injection. Either way, there's a lot on the line tonight in Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Oklahoma City Thunder right here at the Target Center. Tip-off is just about an hour away, but for the next 30 minutes, the Fan is bringing you the vibes live from inside the cage as we gear up for what will prove to be a crucial and critical Game 3. This is the pregame party presented by Youngstedts, the auto service masters. Book your appointment today at youngstedts.com. Max Fuller here, a.k.a. Fro Namath, a.k.a. Samuel L. Maxon, a.k.a. a million other things. And I got to admit, a hootie-hoo would ring very hollow right now because there has not been much to celebrate 2 games into this series. But like I said, things can turn around quickly with a win tonight. So here we are trying to find the formula like Bill Nye the Science Guy and figure out what's been going wrong with our beloved Wolves and what they can do to change it. And here comes the legend, Mark Rosen. Maybe his presence can change the fortunes of the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's walking by slowly. He wants us to invite him in, but we're not going to.
No, keep the door locked.
Yeah, keep it locked, Rosie. There's too many people in here anyways. And when I mean there's too many people in here, I'm talking about my comrades in arms. Justin Guard, a.k.a. Guardsy, and my main man, Andrew Duckowitz of ZoneCoverage.com. We always start with a vibe check. What's the vibe right now, y'all?
Andrew, you go first. I'm not ready.
I mean, the sun's out, right? So vibe
That's
has
a good way to
be
start,
good.
yeah.
It's sunny in May in Minnesota, so vibes. Let's call it a good vibe.
I'll say this. I hope the Wolves get around a little bit better than when I just saw Rosen have to use the handrail to get down the media entrance there. I still see his head. He's 6'10". So did you notice you were going through your script? Julius Randle just popped by us too.
He walks by like I think every pregame party.
Is he just getting shots up at Lifetime downstairs?
He must have been.
He must be,
know.
right? The court's not.
I hope he's not O'Gara's. Just kidding,
or Kieran's or the Loon.
Right.
Great bit before we go. No, vibes are not good right now. Vibes shouldn't be good right now. The team needs to do something to get the vibes back, and this obviously, we all know this is the series, right? This is the series. This is the season. Let's make some things interesting here. Let's win Game 3 like they couldn't do a year ago. Let's interrupt the deja vu, like you said. Let's turn the lights on and tell everyone to go home. What time does that close, by the way? You used to work there, I think.
It actually stays open as long as people are spending money.
Got it.
I've been there as late as 6 in the morning.
Okay,
if people are making it rain, you know what I'm saying?
It's a Saturday night. We could do that tonight, I suppose. But yeah, we just need to see something from the team tonight, I think, to get this thing, at least make the Thunder think about this thing, right?
Right, because so far it seems like the Wolves haven't even been in the same classroom as the Thunder. They're not even learning the same lessons. The 118-103 score in Game 2 is not necessarily even indicative of how dominant the Oklahoma City Thunder were, and a big part of that is the defense. So, Andrew, I want to start with you. What is it about this Thunder defense? We'll zoom in on the micro, but in a macro sense, what is it about this Thunder defense that is just so stifling, specifically for this Wolves team?
They just have so many bodies they can throw at players. I mean, it starts kind of with their top-end guys like Jaylen Williams is phenomenal, Dort is phenomenal, Caruso off the bench. But even after you get past their kind of 3 best, I mean, Shea is not a slouch on the defensive side. Case and Wallace does a good job. They just make you work. And I think it frustrates the Wolves pretty quickly because they are a handsy defense. They are a physical defense. And their team, because they can put out so many just player after player going 10 deep, they're able to kind of do exactly what the Wolves struggle with, and that's run. I mean, we saw it in the Pacers game where the Pacers played all backups. They just threw the backups out there, said play full court, run this team off the court. And they did. And the Wolves, you know, their game plan is going to probably be the same as it's been the last 2 games of trying to just slow it down, get into their own pace. But this Oklahoma City defense makes it really hard to do that when they can just get turnovers and score points in a hurry.
Guardsy, what can the Wolves do to muck it up? I mean, obviously that's a loaded question, but what can the Wolves do to try to muck up something for OKC right now? Because they're losing in every facet of the game right now.
Yeah, but not only for like certain stretches.
Right, small stretches that get large leads for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
That's the problem with Oklahoma City, is that they are relentless, and you can't have any slip-ups. You can't have any bad 3-minute stretches because they're just waiting.
Right.
Their defense is good enough, and obviously with Shea, being efficient enough, he kind of keeps them in the game. And Britt Robson had the best stat. I don't even know if it's true, but the dude's been doing this for 60 years, right?
Right.
So I'm going to trust him. And he didn't have the exact numbers, but Oklahoma City's shooting percentages go up once they get like a double-digit lead.
Wow.
And part of it is because
That's
the other
insane.
teams, but the other team's level kind of drops. They're probably getting turnovers, and everybody's just feeling good, right? The biggest problem, because Oklahoma City lost a year ago, right? They were the number one seed a year ago, and they lost to the same Dallas Mavericks that beat us here. They almost lost to Denver, right? They lost games in the series and didn't look all that great doing it. Well, what was the difference? Well, you got them into the fourth quarter, and then these bit players, some of whom I had never heard of
100%
until game one, and I know some of them had just come back from some injuries or didn't play a lot in the last series or whatever.
Who the hell is Carson Wallace?
I have no idea.
Never. I couldn't pick him out of a lineup with Tupac and Biggie.
Before we hit it, that was like the third time I'd heard his name, and the first two were when Mike Breen gave him a couple of bangs in game one, like out of nowhere. But the thing with Oklahoma City is the Wolves. I just think about the turnovers they had. They only had 14 last game, right? 14, a decent number.
Yeah.
Not terrible. But it's the ones where Naz Reid's trying to whip a baseball pass cross court through 5 guys.
Right.
It's going to get picked. Throwing a lob into Julius Randle multiple times. That got picked, right?
Passing it to Rudy Gobert, period.
Ever. That's tough. That's a big thing because they're going to let him. He's open, right?
Yeah.
For a reason. And you have to, if he's going to be out there, they got to do something. And I thought really the biggest one, or the one that really illustrates it is, and who knows what would have happened, but when Jaden McDaniels tried the little turnaround flip to Ant, as the Wolves are actually getting back into it, but he kind of flips it around. And the line I used, Max, was that he was at the Twin City Pro-Am, Minnehaha Academy, and it was just going to be super casual. I think Dub intercepted it. They come down, get an offensive rebound and score. Like, you can't have any slip-ups.
Right.
And because every little slip-up turns into a dunk the other way or a 3 the other way, and you just have to play so well for so long. Can they do that? Who knows? I don't know. Well, and actually get them into the fourth quarter.
Right.
Because these bit players are not that good. They're obviously very good, and they're a front-running bunch, but they're always ahead by 15 all season long.
Well, exactly. The starters haven't even had to play in the fourth quarter in a lot of these games. I think the OKC Thunder and the Wolves fans at the Target Center, let me tell you, they're not deterred. Right. They're not biting their nails. They ain't scared of the OKC Thunder. Okay.
Okay. She's ready for the show.
She said we'll talk later.
She's ready for the first break.
All right.
She's ready for 6:55.
She's ready to howl with the homies, not on the FCC airwaves. Let me tell you that. And Garza, you mentioned it. The turnovers. The Wolves did. I mean, they had what? I think it was 22 or something like that, or 18. How much did they have in the first game? 19 in game one.
Right.
So they dropped it down to 14 in game 2, but still that led to 22 OKC Thunder points. So better, but still not good enough. And especially, like you said, you have to be perfect because OKC only had 6.
Right.
This is a team that does not make a lot of mistakes. So this Wolves team has to be damn near perfect. And thus far, I mean, we can't get complete performances from this roster so far. Julius Randle had a pretty damn good game 1, or at least the first half.
Yeah.
But he's been locked down for the last 6 quarters. We'll get to that in a second. Anthony Edwards had a subpar game 1, but then they kind of flip-flopped in game 2. Who is the X factor in this, Andrew? Who do the Wolves need to get going to see something, to see a spark? Nikhil had a pretty damn good game, but nobody's really talking about it because of the way that they lost. Jaden McDaniels had a good game, but what's going on with Naz Reid? What's going on with that? Who's the most important out of the non-Ant and Julius guys that you want to see get going?
I mean, most important, Jaden. Jaden has to have a good game. He has to stay out of foul troubles. Putting Jaden aside, though, Dante's got to start hitting shots.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City's leaving him wide open in the corners.
They're leaving everybody wide. I saw that the Wolves had the best looks of any team of the 4 teams left in the playoffs thus far, but they have the lowest shooting percentage.
And Dante's shooting like 26%.
Jeez.
I mean, I'd leave him open too.
Right. Correct.
Nas, when he's going 0 for 8, I mean, I'd leave him open too. They just got to hit shots, and that's what opens up everything for the Wolves. If Dante is hitting shots, if Nas is hitting shots, there's room for Julius to bang around inside. There's room for Ant to drive. Rudy, he might have a couple extra seconds to catch that pass instead of immediately kick it out of bounds as he does sometimes. But to me, that's just what it is. The shooters, Naz and Dante, just got to shoot, and they need to be right away in the game. I mean, Dante, when he checks in at 6 minutes, he's got to hit that first one just to make people start playing him honest, because Oklahoma City, when you're shooting those kind of early in the shot clock threes, they take those rebounds and run them like fast breaks.
Well, right,
those are like turnovers.
Yep.
Basically. And the more shots the Wolves miss, the more OKC kicks it out in transition, and it just turns into a never-ending loop that it's really hard to get out of, Guardsy.
Yeah, we've seen it for 2 games. And the Naz thing is interesting because this is now, I mean, he had the great fourth quarters in games 3 and 4 against the Lakers, right? And even Finch, though, said, I'd love it if he showed up in the first 3, right? So he's really only had like 2-ish good quarters. And this even goes back to the last postseason. He was not great in the postseason a year ago either, which is scary, right?
Yeah.
Because, and I know he hasn't had as much postseason experience as maybe some others, but it's scary just thinking long-term of all the things you've done the last couple of off seasons, including trading Carl, are under the impression that Naz Reid is going to be a big part of your future, right? It's scary when he throws out these postseason performances. And for me, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but with the colony, the ant colony, as Barrero and I call them, it's not so much that you have to go in there and help every single game and do the heavy lift like you've done. Like the game 1 against the Lakers, they're 21 of 42 from 3. Like everybody was hitting, everybody was feeling great, right? Everybody played well. You just can't hurt the Wolves as much as you do. Like Dante's foul right before halftime, right? I'm sure the guy flopped. I know Dante probably didn't push him over that hard.
Yeah.
But, like, you got to know who you're playing. Oklahoma City's going to be in the right spot. They're going to try to sell the call.
It's just a part of playing this team.
It is. Yes. Whether we like it or not, it's reality.
Right.
And it's, like I mentioned earlier, the Naz pass, just whipping it across the court carelessly like you're just running, a noon game at Lifetime downtown, right? Just right below us. It's just that's what has been driving me nuts about the bench guys is we don't need you to help so much. Just don't hurt so badly. And unfortunately, you mentioned it, Na played well last game, at least got something going. Hopefully that continues because they need 1 or 2 of those guys. That's the strength of this whole team is that they thought they had 8 guys. Apparently they don't, and Oklahoma City has like 12.
And they're getting everything
Everybody.
from those 12. And I mean, Jaylen Williams looks like, he looks like an absolute bona fide superstar. Of course, he's just terrible the whole playoff run
until
up
game
until
7, kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he cannot miss against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Andrew, what's so good about Jaylen Williams? What makes him stand out? What makes him lethal against this Timberwolves defense?
He's a 3-level scorer. I mean, he can hit from 3, he can finish around the rim, and the way the Wolves play defense is they try and force you into shooting mid-range shots. Rudy Gobert takes things away from the rim, makes you pass out. This team flies around on the perimeter, tries to make that tough. Jaylen Williams doesn't care.
Yeah,
like,
he's like, oh, sweet.
He'll stand at the nail and take a free throw mid-game. Like, to him, that's a good shot. To Shea, that's a good shot. To Caruso, that's a good shot. Hartenstein, I think, has hit like 4 floaters from that spot.
It seems like that middle region of the Wolves defense seems a little bit vulnerable against this Thunder team.
It's by design.
Right.
Like, it's worked all last season. It worked all this season. It's playing the percentages of, the team's going to miss more mid-rangers. It's not worth as much as a 3. Let's force them into that position. But when you're playing against a team that has a bunch of guys that just are smart. I mean, that's what it comes down to. J-Dub knows where he needs to set up, where he needs to start backing down from, and they're just picking him apart, which that brings up the other Rudy Gobert question, right?
What are you doing?
If
you're
he's
not getting a bunch of rebounds, you're not scoring, you're not even attempting to score, and the paint is getting attacked. So what exactly are you doing
and
out
he's
there?
not, when he comes out of the paint to help guard those mid-range shots, there's no backside help behind him.
Right.
Like, it would just be a layup line. So what the heck do you do if you're Chris Finch if I take Gobert out of the game, then it's a massive drop-off at the rim. If I have Gobert play up, it's a layup line behind him. And if I have him play back, it's going to be a layup line in front of him. I mean, it's going to come down to coaching and Chris Finch to kind of figure out how to make Gobert fit a little bit better in this series.
They're doing a really good job keeping him off the offensive glass, too. And not in the way that whatever series it was, I get these deep playoff runs confused. We're
so used to it here,
These dozens of games that we've watched the last month or so, but not the way – I think it must have been Golden State, game 1. where Finchie was talking about, well, they're fouling him every time, like grabbing his arms and pushing him, and that was kind of a little subplot of that series. Oklahoma City is not keeping him off the boards that way. They're legit like boxing his ass out with like one or two dudes, whether it's Hartenstein, whether it's Chet, and then they've got another guy kind of there. Like he's trying. My 10-year-old who's coming to the game with me to try to improve his 1-8 playoff record the last handful of years.
Get him out of the building.
No, I'm not blaming him because you only go to the good games, bro. Like, and then I tried to sneak him into that Pacer game we were talking about, the Obi Toppin game, to get him a dub to feel good about himself. And Obi Toppin went nuts and he lost on a Monday night at Target
Sorry
Center.
for bringing up PTSD.
Yeah, it was crazy. But he's like trying to bat the ball all around, and people are like, why is he trying to do that? Because they're keeping him off the glass.
Right.
They're doing a great job understanding the one thing that he can really impact this series on is on the offensive glass. And credit again to OKC, in my opinion. I haven't watched the all 10, going through it on Synergy, not Dane Moore, but they're doing a great job of keeping him off the glass. They really are.
Yeah, they really. I mean, they're just. Anthony Edwards said it after game 1. He said every time he looks up, there's like 4 dudes in the paint. I mean, they're swarming. Like you said, they're letting the Wolves shoot. Yeah. And so far, so good. But if you're the OKC Thunder, not so good if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves. And speaking of not so good, for the last 6 quarters, Julius Randle, it seems like the Thunder got him figured out like he's Colonel Mustard in the kitchen with the candlestick. I mean, Julius Randle has been a no-show pretty much over the last 6 quarters. And I got to imagine that's in part because he can't necessarily play that patented Julius Randle kind of bully ball that we saw against the Lakers and the Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, again, smart defenders on the other side. Alex Caruso baited him into a foul kind of midway through last game, and I think Randle was smiling, walking away. But I mean, he can't do it.
That was so brutal too. Those are the ones that piss me off.
Yeah. Just the backbreaker of like, oof. Yep. But like Julius Randle, when he is trying to bruise, there's Isaiah Hartenstein who's behind him, who is not the best all-around defender, but that guy is strong. Julius can't just move him to the side like he was doing with like Rui Hachimura.
Right.
I mean, and then when it's not Hartenstein, it's a guy like Caruso who's there, who knows how to get positioning, who's going to try and get that offensive foul. And if Randle does get to a position in the post, none of our guys are hitting shots.
Yeah.
So everybody's sticking their hands in to try and poke the ball at, getting in passing lanes. And we've seen that kind of be the bane of Randle's existence when he wants to, do that kind of like rifle pass to the corner. There's just a guy standing right there. Yeah. And when that's cut off, Randle has to look to a different option, and it just takes time. So if you're holding the ball for 4 seconds at the top of the key, you're just playing into OKC's hands.
Did you happen to watch TNT last night, after the game?
No, I didn't get a chance to see it.
They got in, I think it was after the game, they got into Randle straight up being benched, which we probably haven't talked enough about that.
Right, because that's exactly. I think a lot of people just Chris. No, he got benched.
Yeah,
he got
straight
benched.
Up.
Like that's the verb. I haven't heard anyone use that verbiage, and maybe it's because we like Julius Randle, but that's exactly what happened.
Well, and I think we're all just so surprised because if there was like all season long, and I wasn't in this camp. Well, I mean, I was actually for a while. You and I have talked about this, Max. Like, obviously, Randle didn't have a great regular season, and then he got hurt for a while, and then he came back and played amazing. But Finch stuck with that dude through everything.
Yeah.
Right?
I wish I had someone that believed in me like Chris Finch believes in Julius Randle.
But that's why the other night was so shocking, right?
Yeah.
That obviously Finch understands. Like, he was clearly mad at him just for attitude playing. I know he spent one time out just yelling at the refs. Not productive.
Yeah.
Not going to help.
Not going to work.
But I bring it up because the TNT crew was pretty frontal about calling it a mistake and basically saying, Randle's a guy who's been great for you this whole postseason. Like, players of his stature deserve an opportunity to work themselves through it. And which way is this going to go? I mean, Barkley said something along the lines of, he's sitting there thinking the coach is blaming me for this. He's like, as the way Barkley can say, he goes, we're getting our ass kicked and I'm the only one sitting here. He goes, that's got to be. Now, they have a pretty good relationship. They're obviously pretty tight, so I'm sure they've worked through it.
But we're all human.
But that's it. I'm fascinated to see how they play him tonight, how he plays tonight, how he responds to that tonight, because I think Finchie said in the post game, I just wanted to get some more spacing in there or whatever. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we believe that.
Shoot, well, whatever. But that's going to be interesting to see how that whole thing kind of solves itself tonight, because that's a big deal to bench Julius Randle of all people. Finch, the guy.
I mean, arguably the most consistent player throughout this playoff run. he's been the tone setter at the beginning of all of these games. He's kind of been emotionally, physically, just play style wise. He's kind of, I mean, obviously Anthony Edwards is the leader of this team, but Julius Randle has kind of been the tone setter, most consistent, arguably the MVP of the Wolves throughout this playoff run.
I would say he has been the MVP, and he's always been Finch's MVP.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Finch never wanted to take him out of a game for something like that, and so that's why it was, I think, pretty dramatic.
Yeah, but they're gonna need him if they want to win tonight, and it's obviously a crucial game 3, and they're gonna need to get Anthony Edwards going. And it seemed like I believe it was Ryan was pointed out on the broadcast. He was saying that the Wolves were making sure to get the post up strategy going. Like they were intentionally getting Anthony Edwards posted up a lot in that game. Like Andrew, how do you feel about the idea of getting Anthony Edwards just at least closer to the rim to try to initiate some offense? It seems like they made it a point to have him posting up a lot in the early odds of that game.
Yeah, I think it helps. Like Ant's a guy that once he sees a couple go through, I mean, how many heat check Ant threes have we seen this year where he just kind of pulls up from the logo because he's feeling it? So it's kind of what you do for superstars. You get him into a place where they can get a little bit easier shot. Ant, coming into last season, spent a lot of time working in the post, worked a lot on his bank shot. That kind of disappeared this season for whatever reason, whether it was like a Chris Finch, Julius Randle kind of works in that same area, so maybe it was a spacing decision. I've never asked about it, but Ant has a really good turnaround
Better ask
game.
quick. Season's almost over. They might have 2 more
in the
games.
off season a couple times, but Ant, that's a spot where Ant is comfortable. I mean, he's good on that fadeaway kind of turn towards the baseline. He has a good mid-range game. I mean, we've seen before how fast he can turn out of that and just get to the rim. The one thing I've been kind of not worried about, but just curious about is how much that ankle's bothering him. Because if you're like back to the basket posted up and you're trying to spin off of a bad ankle, I mean,
it's a lot of pressure.
Maybe that's why we haven't seen it a ton this postseason. I do want to just on the Randle front too. I think Chris Finch and Randle are tight to the point where I don't think it's going to be a thing tonight.
Yeah.
But Randle, this has happened a couple times this year. He's been benched closing games for Naz and Gobert before.
That's true.
He's left the court early after being benched early in the year. Like he has had these moments where Finch has just kind of said, like, we're down by 20. All the other starters are playing through this. Get out of here.
Right.
And he's usually responded. So I'm pretty confident he's going to come pretty focused and locked in tonight. If anything else, just to kind of prove everyone wrong. He's an underdog by nature, just like Ant is.
I know we probably have to fly, and you've probably written out a really nice soliloquy to get us out of here.
Not necessarily. Okay. The poetry goes down as the Wolves continue to lose. Yeah, it gets simpler and simpler.
This is like our third quarter.
Yeah, basically. If they lose tonight, it's going to be one fish, blue fish, red fish.
I'm not stopping by for the homie. I know Ant was 1 of 9 from 3, I think, last game. I think that number is so misleading because I swear like 4 or 5 of them were just in and out. Like that's the other thing. Like against Oklahoma City, like you can't have in and outs.
No.
Like, and it feels like we're in Southern California. There's so many in and outs all over the place, right? And I'm looking for the double monster style. I thought Ant was dialed for game 2.
Yeah,
I thought
it's exactly the Anthony Edwards we wanted to see right out of the gate.
The way he was getting in the rim, the way he was making passes, no one was making shots, of course.
Right.
But then even his 3 ball, it's like so many of them were just right there. And so I feel like if we get that Ant tonight, they'll be in. I take my chances with the in and outs, and hopefully the target center rims are a little more familiar or friendly.
I hope so as well. Crucial game 3 coming up here in just a little over a half an hour. As the music plays, I need a prediction from y'all. Andrew, go first. What are we going to see tonight?
I think they're going to win. The Lynx missed a lot of baskets last night. Hopefully they got all of the clanks out of the rims.
I think that beautiful, is that a kimono technically?
I mean, this is kind of kimono-like. It's like a little
I think
velvet.
that shirt will be rendered irrelevant.
Yeah!
It won't matter. No one will even see it. That blonde woman that walked by over, I think with her boyfriend rocking an Al
I
Jefferson,
mean, that was like
husband.
a husband-boyfriend situation.
Tough scene for Big Al. Tough scene. She'll be back to join you, and it'll be great. I think they do squeeze. I'm just hoping. Let's make this thing interesting, right? Get some clicks for some coverage. Get some listens for us. Let's
Come on now. That's what I'm talking about. That lady's husband took an L, and so will the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight, and hopefully we're howling with hope live from the cage following Game 3. That'll be the next time you'll hear from us. For Guardsy, for Andrew signing off, I'm Max Fuller. This has been the pregame party presented by Youngstedts. We'll holler at y'all after the game. Peace.